Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Good Intentions with Lisa-Tien. That is me. I am really excited to have this extra time to record an episode. It's kind of like a little last minute. This morning, one of my clients that I haven't seen in a while, I used to see her in the salon in Keller. She texted me and she's got a fever, which the flu is running rampant. And yeah, so of course, no biggie. She had to cancel. And I have a few hours to spare. So here we are. What do I want to talk about? We are spiraling, but we are back in alignment. Where do I even begin? First of all, the extensions are out. They are out. I'm going to need the Brazilian blowout to wear off because I'm feeling like the hair is a little skinty and thin to me. I'm like, I miss my curlies. So in due time. And I've been thinking about for months now of cutting my hair short. And we're leaning towards like, yeah, I want to do it. I'm going to wait till it's a little warmer because you can't be sad when the sun is shining. You know, like right now it's still kind of cold. I'm like, I already took out the extensions. So like that kind of helped keep me warm. But I'm thinking, I went back and looked at my old pictures from 2019 and we did have short hair. And yeah, I'm thinking there. I don't think I'm ready for that above the shoulder. So anyway, this last week, wow. I miss the days when my trigger was food. So like whenever I would feel stressed or triggered or whatever, like I would just, it was just a habit, go to the gas station, whatever, and get hot Cheetos, Snickers, gummy bears. And we don't do that anymore. And now it's vaping. I'm trying to think of where I left off on my vaping journey, but I went out with one of my clients and she had a vape. And so I was hitting it. And she actually had two. So whenever she left, she was like, well, I have two. Do you want this other one? And I was like, no, I'm good. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, okay, I'll take it. And that was the best flavor. So I'm just going to make this really quick because I drove all the way home and now I have a haircut, which amazing, slay, love it, booked and blessed. The vape journey. So my client gave me her vape and that was the best flavor, best vape I've ever had. It was a Rookie Bar brand. Never had it before. I usually just get Geek Squad, whatever, because that's just, I don't know, what I've always gotten. I feel like I look very strange without the extensions. I hit that motherfucker strong for like 4 days. I think it was from Saturday night to Thursday when I was like, okay, this is gotta go. So I gave it to one of the girls at work. I was like, please just get this out of my face. And Side Piece and I have been messaging on Snapchat just a little more than usual, whatever. And because of my ADHD, dopamine, delusions, that I'm getting like excited because I'm bored or whatever, and or emotionally unavailable. And so like, yeah, like it just feels, the only way I can describe it is it literally feels like I'm getting high. Like, oh, we're messaging and blah, blah, blah. And he's telling me I'm cute and giving me validation and this, that, or whatever. And I can feel, I think he is definitely a huge trigger for me because that was when I started vaping again, or when I wanted and had the urge to buy a vape, was after we hooked up that one time. Immediately I was like, damn, I want to smoke, and not thinking that maybe this is like a stress trigger because this person is absolutely emotionally unavailable and it's just like another trauma bond type thing. Like, of course, I'm very attracted to him. I think he is a cutie patootie. His personality is great from the little that I know. And the thing is, like, I don't know that much about him. He's basically a stranger. You know, I know some personal details that he's shared. But anyway, you just kind of like get caught up in this. And that was when I bought a vape and then bought another vape and then ended up giving away. So on top of vaping this delicious Rookie Bar watermelon blueberry flavor, I am messaging side piece and getting all like hyped for no reason, like forgetting the fact that he is not only emotionally unavailable, but has bailed on me so many times. Like, it's just also the ADHD that you kind of just like forget and it's just whatever. And you kind of just chase that feeling. So I can feel myself like that. Like, I just had that stress about it. And so that Thursday, I gave that vape away, and side piece and I are still messaging, right? And we're making plans to hang out on Saturday. And because he's had this history of bailing on me, I'm like, I can feel the stress or the anxiety in my body. I'm like, either way, like the Saturday plans weren't a maybe because he said he had to help his mom move or whatever. And I was just like, either way, like just let me know, yes or no. And so I can feel myself like getting anxious. Like, is he going to let me know, yes or no? Because just before we made plans, like, I don't know, he was like, I do need another haircut. How much should I pay? This, that, or whatever. And we kind of talked about it. And I joked about how I would also take candy and flowers as payment to fuel my delusions. And then he asked me like for a list of the things that I liked and saved it in the chat. So I'm like getting extra delusional, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, wait, what is he actually going to do this? Like, it's just insane how my brain works. But then Saturday, yeah, he ended up messaging me later. Like, I had just got home from work, but I didn't hear from him, whatever. And it took everything I had in me not to stop and buy another vape or stop and get fast food. Like, at this point, I'm very aware that this is a trigger for me and I'm feeling stressed. So now I need comfort in some kind of way, whether it's like with the fast food, this, that, or whatever. And I'm at this point like looking at different restaurants that are near me, different fast foods. Like, I drove by Jack in the Box and I'm like, oh my God, that sounds actually really good and blah, blah, blah. But then I remembered that I had snacks at home because I thought I had eaten all of my meal prep. So remembered that I had snackies and it was fine, right? We're good. We're just going to go home. Like, I nailed it. Amazing. We did it, right? But I knew that Sunday is a new day, right? That was just Saturday night. So whenever I got home, I made my little rice cake avocado with smoked salmon and some onions on it. And he had messaged me right around the time when I was just about to eat and said, come over. I was like, okay, address. He sent me the address, but then also said, well, wait, give me a minute because I might go over to my buddies. And I'm just like, boo. Like, okay, typical. And then 15 minutes after that, oh, he was like, sorry. And then 15 minutes after that, he sends me a selfie of him and his cat, like cuddle vibes or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, so is he not going to his friend's house or what? Like, what is the issue here? Like, is this, I have never talked to someone or hung out with anyone that is just like that flaky. Like, is it just validation that he's wanting? Like, the validation of me saying, yes, I'm going to come over and that's just what he needs? Like, whatever. At this point right now, I'm detached slightly. However, during that weekend, Saturday, I was just like trying to make sense of it. And so he sends me the selfie and sends me another picture of his cat. And I was just like, I'm jelly. And he was like, oh, you'll snuggle him soon. And I'm like, I want to snuggle you. And he was like, same. And I was like, well, you're welcome to any time. And he said, also same. Like, what about sometime this week? And I was like, I'm afraid to say yes. And he said, why? And I was just like, because you bail more times than not. Like, you're just a very hard man to get. You know, go off, do you. I personally don't love it. It doesn't feel great. And at this point, it just seems silly of me to think anything different, that like anything different is going to happen when we make plans. And he said, I'll think on that one. I'm sorry, I'm flaky. And then that was that. And then the next day, I just like, because I get so high, I feel like I crash. And that next day was Sunday. So I went to the gym. I was very, very like low energy, just low vibes in general. I decided to stop at a vape shop after the gym. They did not have the rookie bar. And I was like, okay, you know what? This is a sign. But then I stopped at the one by my house, didn't have rookie bar. I was like, okay, like this is a sign, obviously. So I just go home and I can feel that anxiety in like my body or the stress in my body or whatever. And I did 2 meditations to try to just like chill out, because I am like, is crashing out the term that these kids are using nowadays? Because it literally felt like that. I didn't really do much all day. I think it was also very like overcasty as well. So most of the time I was just like in bed watching movies, watching TV, whatever. And then I had the time to call 8 different vape shops to see if they had the Rookie Bar brand. They did not. And I was like, okay, clearly this is a sign. I don't need to drive to Irving at this store that might have the Rookie Bar brand and they might not. Like, this is getting a little out of hand. But then a few minutes after that, I was like, I'm just going to go back to that vape shop and just get whatever. And I did. And I was hitting it. So that's Sunday. What's today? Today's Friday. Valentine's Day. That's why I'm wearing red. So I had the vape from Sunday to yesterday was when I was like, you know what? Like, I'm kind of ready to part ways with it. And I had just been listening to my meditations and listening to the personal development podcast and just getting back into alignment, like reminding myself that I'm a baddie. I am. And we don't need that validation. We don't need to, like, the fact that I get so riled up or like delusional or whatever and ADHD in love or obsessed with this person that, well, one, I don't really know. And 2, I probably genuinely don't actually want to be with, because I don't think we really even have the same values. I don't know, right? He's a stranger, basically. So it's just like, bitch, like, chill. Let's fucking relax, okay? Like, it's fine. You want to manifest and attract a certain type of partner to a certain standards. You yourself want to be up to this certain standard. So like, distracting myself over here is only going to keep me from getting to my ultimate goal. So just reminding myself of that and respect and what I value in a partner. Someone who is going to want to spend time with me and is going to want to do this and is going to want to do that. Like, this is not it. This is just a distraction. This is something to keep me stuck or to give me validation that I don't need. So that is just, sometimes progress isn't linear. And I think I've said this before, like, you're going to have your ups and you're going to have your downs. Like, it's not going to be just a straight catapult up to progressing. As you try to grow and transform, your subconscious is going to do these things where you might not feel like you deserve to have this better life or really believe that you can be this better person. So you kind of revert back to old habits, and that is just something that happens. You're not going to be perfect. It is quite literally a practice. Mindset, growing, it's a practice. And to be aware of the fact that you are getting triggered and the fact that you are reverting back to old habits and, you know, eating fast food or smoking weed or smoking vapes or whatever, just being aware that you're doing it and not beat yourself up about it. Because that was another thing. So like that Sunday, whenever I did go buy a vape, I had to remind myself. It took like all day of just feeling like really blah. And towards I remember it was in the evening, I was grabbing my laundry from the dryer and I was just like, okay, like, be compassionate about, like, be kind to yourself right now. Stop being Don't judge yourself for the fact that you are making these choices that you like know you shouldn't be, but it is just normal. It is something that's going to happen. It just happens, right? And just being aware of the fact that it is happening, being kind and compassionate to yourself and getting back into alignment is the most important thing, because some people just, and I said this term, throw the baby out with the bathwater. And just because you messed up or you weren't perfect this one time, some people will just be like, oh, well, everything's out the window. Like, it's the fuck it. We're going on a rampage. We're spiraling. We're getting unhinged. Like, no. Okay. You take a couple steps backwards. Okay. Be aware of the fact that you have just done that. Be compassionate to yourself for doing that, because growing and changing is a process, and you're breaking from this old form of this person that you used to be. That takes a lot of conscious effort and energy, and it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect, but continuing, right? Taking a pause and seeing where you're at and continuing to go forward instead of 20 steps back. You know what I mean? I guess that's kind of what I just wanted to talk about, was just that progress is not linear. And you are going to go through certain times or moments where you do feel a little low, and just feel it. And try not to escape it. Like, genuinely feel it, understand it, be there for yourself, and then just rise above it. And it feels really good to be back in alignment, because just feeling like blah, not a fan of it at all. But not everything is going to be euphoric every single day. Like, it just is what it is. And we're aware, right? We're conscious. We're not in autopilot. And you keep going. You keep moving forward. And one thing that I don't love is I don't love that I allow these things to control me. So the vape and side piece, like, I don't like that I allow that to happen. So it's like you have to get yourself back in check and keep moving forward. And I mean, I don't want to be playing games, but like, a part of me still hasn't blocked him yet. But I want him to be like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? So like, every time he asks me, I can just be like, oh, I have plans. Oh, sorry, I made plans. I have dinner. I'm going out to dinner or whatever. And we are back from work. I don't remember how far along I got in this episode, but yes, I had to leave to get to work. And it was a pretty short shift. However, it just felt so long. And we are unhinging, okay? The hinge is on right now. It's so crazy what a few hours can do to you. I am done vaping. Like, for real. Okay, so yes, hooking up with side piece, blah blah blah, getting triggered, blah blah blah, him blowing me off, me becoming unhinged and deciding I'm gonna get another vape after I had already given the one that my client gave me, right? Okay, we're catching back up. Okay, so the other day I ended up giving that vape that I just bought on Sunday to one of the girls at work, another girl. And the last couple days I have just been hitting it a little bit, whatever. And it's so clear. Like, it's so clear how it affects me. Like, it's just not even funny. I just feel so drained throughout the day. And I looked this up last night, if vaping makes you tired. And it does, because it causes, these dopamine hits and the adrenaline and blah, blah, blah. So it's like working you up and then you crash, right? Same as like caffeine or whatever. And if you're hitting it late at night, it affects how you sleep. So I'm also not getting quality sleep. And every day, every new day, it's like it's just compounding on top of each other. Like, I think it was yesterday. I was just like, the day before, actually. I was like, at 3 p.m., I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to do another highlight. Like, I'm so tired to where I just don't even want to talk. And I just like am so ready to get out of there so I can come home and lay down and start it all over again. But we're booked and blessed. Like, I am so grateful to be at this location, to be busy. It's been amazing. It's just me vaping. And today I was going to not smoke, but then, my full foiled canceled. Then they ended up booking me a haircut, and I had like a 3-hour gap. And then that haircut ended up being a bang trim. So then it was really like a 4-hour gap. And instantly I was like, okay, like I want to smoke. And so then I think I hit the vape 2 different times on top of Valentine's Day candy. So I can feel myself and this happens every time I stop vaping. Just those first couple days, it's like you're going through withdrawals. Like, I feel so irritable. Like, my last client today, because I'm tired and I've eaten the sugar and I'm like weaning off of vaping. Her hair, I don't know, she just needs to use some like hydrating shampoo and conditioner, like a leave-in conditioner, doing a hair mask. It felt like there was chlorine in it. And I asked if she swam and she said she didn't, but like it smelled and felt like it. And when I was shampooing her, like my fingers were just not getting into her scalp. Like it kept getting like caught in the hair. And then I take her back to the chair to like comb out her hair. And there's just so many tangles, and it's not like regular tangles. It's just like different. Like the texture is just like, I don't even know how to describe it. But then I'm combing through to cut, and the hair keeps, the comb's getting stuck. And like every time I try to whip the comb through, it doesn't matter how many times I've already brushed it and combed it through, it was getting tangly. And she was like, kept like adjusting, like getting the hair out of her face. And I can feel myself getting so irritated. And normally I am not, things don't bother me. Like, I don't get upset. I don't get hot and bothered, because that's not who I am. But who I am when I've been vaping and I'm trying to quit, like that is not a person that I want to be. And so I have decided, yeah, like I have to stop. I have to. I don't like feeling tired, and it doesn't even matter if I go to sleep early, because I'm not getting quality sleep either. Overall, terrible for you, terrible for your skin, terrible for your lungs, terrible for your whole entire body. And because I'm like fiending or whatever and getting like irritated, I just hurried up and like did my side duties. I'm like, I'm going to do my brushes and all that like tomorrow. Like I want to go and I want to eat. And I have my last meal prep to eat. Well, I put 2 of them in the freezer, but one that I have in the fridge like needs to be eaten today or needs to be thrown away because it's like 4 days old. And I was like, I kind of want taco casa, because everyone at work goes to taco casa like 3 times a week. But then I was like, I don't really like taco casa. I've had it a few times, and like the idea of it always sounds good, but it never really hits for me. So I was like, I'm going to go to Taco Bell. And I'm like driving home, and I'm trying to convince myself to just eat my last meal prep. But I ate that meal yesterday, and I feel like it's starting to not taste that great, because I should have put it in the freezer. But I'm like kind of calmed down a little bit to where I can just chill and probably just go home and eat the meal prep. But I'm like talking myself into going to get Taco Bell, knowing very well that it might not even hit the spot. Let me tell you, it hit every fucking spot in my body. I got a steak quesadilla, I got the Doritos Supreme taco, and I got a potato soft taco and nacho fries with a ton of Diablo sauce. I ate it with my Fresca. It was delightful. I'm not even high. Like, I really thought that it just wasn't going to be great, but wow, it just was what I needed to take the edge off. And unfortunately, like the other day, I was like, I really miss when my trigger was food, and then it was like vaping. But now that I'm quitting vaping, I truly hope that I can find different coping mechanisms, because I cannot be reverting back. Like we're not going backwards. I refuse to be going backwards. Okay. Only progressing from here. And like I said earlier, progress is not linear. We're just going to be aware and continue to shift and transform, because 2025 is a transformative year for me. I don't even know what else I want to talk about. I've been listening to a lot of the, just catching up on Lewis House's podcast, and it's all the same, all wonderful, all this is what you have to do to change and shift, and it is hard work, and like people don't really talk about. I guess in one of the episodes I was listening to today, he talks about how people do want to change, and they only hear about, like the motivational part and look at me, I did this, and not a lot of people talk about how to actually do it. Not necessarily how to do it, because people do talk about that, but like the struggle and what you can expect when you are changing. I think I mentioned this earlier, is like your subconscious keeps you in this little box where you're comfortable. One example was like a thermostat. So let's just say your body just runs at 98 degrees and you want to change. It's like when you get out of that comfort zone. So let's just say you want to get to 100. You might get to 100. And then you might be like, oh shit, like it's way too hot here. I'm uncomfortable. Let me go back down to where I'm comfortable. And then you go back down to where you're comfortable. And because you did get so hot, now you might even get lower than where you're comfortable. I feel like that's the wrong thing I'm trying to say. So yeah, when you change, your subconscious keeps you in this line, in this part of alignment where you are comfortable. And this is why when you try to change, when you quit a job and start a new job, or you break up with someone and you're on your single girl journey or whatever, every change, your subconscious will always like trigger these thoughts like, do you really deserve this? What if you fail? It's like fear, because they want you. Your subconscious wants you to be safe. So they think that throwing those things out there will keep you safe. And in a sense, yeah, it keeps you safe and it keeps you stuck. It keeps you from growing. It keeps you from transforming. It keeps you here in the same spot. And that's why when you want to move forward, when you want to change, it's uncomfortable, because growth is uncomfortable. And you have to just keep powering through. Sometimes I wonder if like people are listening to this and they're like, what the fuck is she talking about? Or maybe there are a few times when I would think, who would listen to me? Like imposter syndrome. And whenever I got my personal trainer certificate, I definitely felt that. I was like, who would buy a course from me? Like, who would sign up when there are all of these other people out here who know more than I do, who have better bodies than I do, who are so much more educated and more articulate than I? Who would listen to me? But in that manifestation course, and something, I kind of just thought about, pondered on, is the fact that people buy you, not necessarily what you're selling. Okay, so yeah, sure, they will buy what you're selling, but they are more likely to buy what you're selling because of you. So if someone listens in and they can relate to my story, or they might have the same struggles, or they, went through the same narcissistic ex bullshit or whatever, and they vibe with me and they listen and they this and they that, like that's how I am when like I follow these influencers or people that I admire and I trust them, and they might sell, these products that they made or they believe in, and because I believe in them, then I believe in that product. So yeah, believe in yourself. What the fuck is this episode even about? Like, I feel so tired right now. I just felt like I had to film a little ending part because I left quite abruptly after I filmed the first half of this episode. We're just very unhinged today, the last week actually, and we're reeling it back in, right? Because we are aware of our triggers. We are aware of how we are reacting and how we are feeling in our body, because it's just the same, like inner child seeking validation, or pick me energy, or wanting something from someone who's never really going to give it to you. But the fact that you might not ever really get it from them makes you want that more. I'm talking about side piece. Like, that is just a destructive cycle, and you have to detach. Like, I am very aware that I'm in the process of detaching. I'm in the process of quitting vaping. January popped the fuck off. February, we're reverting back a little bit, and March is going to be even fucking better than January was. So I'm really excited. I feel like the last week was a little difficult for me, and kind of like low, I guess, but I don't stay there long, and I don't make myself feel bad about it. Like, sure, I just had Taco Bell, and I'm probably going to eat some popcorn and eat the last ice cream sandwich that I have. We're carbo loading today on empty calorie slay. Okay, I don't really have much else to say other than, yeah, this week was a little struggle bussin', but we have faith in ourselves. We have faith in the universe. I believe that I can do this, and I'm going to do it. Wow. Okay, thank you guys for listening. Love y'all. Bye.